evening, fret friends. We have got a cracker of a guitar on the bench today. New client. Bought me this guitar in the back end of last week, and I'm going to show you what it is. What a beaut, and what a weight this has got to it. This is like the early Gibsons before we started weight relieving them, and I love them like this. And this is a Chinese made Epiphone Les Paul Standard. It will have, that will not be a AAA grade maple top, but it will be AA grade. Quite the looker, eh? The beautiful weight to it. Just having a look at the year. It's a brand new guitar, absolutely brand new, year 21. So there you go. He's brought it in for its first setup. Now, when he was here, I had a scoot across the frets and I had a look at it. The frets, they're nice and smooth at the edges, but there are a couple of high ones. Let's just try and ascertain what it is. Don't know if the hardware's in a great shape. Stock tail piece of that was pretty standard. Tuners are Grovers. It is made in China. It does say on the back they're made in China. Grover tuners. The kidney shape or the butterbean shape. Beautiful. It is a standard Les Paul model. Nice top. I'm sure the pickups will be alright. I've not plugged it in. There's no push pull on this, I believe. No, it's just standard 4-way. So neck volume, neck tone, bridge volume, bridge tone, neck volume, neck tone. Not plugged it in. I have noticed there's quite a bit of relief in there. So we're going to sort that out. The nut slots aren't cut nowhere near deep enough, so we're going to sort the nut out. We are going to give it a good setup. We're going to level a couple of frets that need doing. I won't know the state of the frets until I've got the strings off and I've got the neck dead straight. I'm hoping we don't have to do a fret level. It's a brand new guitar. You shouldn't be fret leveling a brand new guitar, but it has happened in the past. I'm hoping we're just going to need, probably going to go for an intensive setup on this. We're not going to swap the pickups out, we're not going to swap the electrics out, we're going to keep everything as standard. There's no reason that this as stock is not a brilliant guitar. Like the guy said who bought it in, he says, I've only just started playing, I don't want to be changing anything on it. I'm going to play it as is, I just want it setting up proper. Now, on new guitars, I used to do a £35 setup for brand new guitars only. I've stopped doing that. Because I'll cut my nose off spite my face. I was doing it too cheap, 35 quid. But we're leveling frets and stuff like that. So this is just it's gonna be a normal price setup, 50 quid for a setup, or I think it's 80 quid now for an intensive setup. So I've told him we're gonna definitely keep it on one of those. But I will get back to you, let you know exactly what he's doing. What I am gonna do off camera before I do anything is I'm gonna plug it in and play it. I'm going to listen to the pickups, I'm going to listen to how it plays, I'm going to check the intonation and everything with these strings on. They are new strings. I'm still going to stick a set of new strings on there. But I'm going to check the setup as it is. I'm going to play it as it is, check everything over, do the setup with these strings on, and then I'm going to alter everything, cut the nut slots and blah blah whatever. We're going to change the strings, we're going to polish the frets, level whatever he's doing, treat the fingerboard. That is not a rosewood fingerboard. Even though the CITES, the CITES thing is now over, I don't think that's rosewood. It's probably Parfero or some derivative of rosewood, some rosewood subspecies or something that very, very close to it. Like I said, this is not a top grade maple cap either, but again, it still looks quite nice. I have seen sycamore used in Asian guitars. To good effect. It does give the effect of maple, but it isn't quite pop as maple does, so it could be a sycamore top, I don't know. But when all said and done, I think it's round about £500 guitar. Pretty decent. I love the weight on this. I love heavy, all my guitars are quite heavy. I love heavy guitars weight wise, so yeah, I'm quite impressed with the weight of it. I'm looking forward to getting it plugged in and played. Also looking forward to getting it all up to spec and getting it good and set up properly for the owner. Back later. Okay guys, so you won't be surprised to hear that the guitar does not play that well. And it's an out of the box setup kind of affair, set up at the shop. The strings are a mile high above the first fret, so that's going to be a lot of the problem. You're never going to get stay in tune because you're pressing down so far to fret first, second, third fret. It's knocking everything out of tune anyway. Everything's going to be playing sharp. The intonation's not brilliant. So what I'm going to do is, rather than, normally I would set the guitar up with the old strings on it. I'm not going to do that with this guitar. Loosen all the strings, pull them to the side, get the neck straight, and I'm going to check the frets. That's all I'm going to do tonight, because that will give me an idea of how much work this guitar is going to need. Because that's, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. I can let the owner know what I think. Now don't get me wrong, there's nothing on this guitar that we cannot sort out. It's a piece of cake for me. You know, it's not a problem at all. It's just all about the frets. You're not really spending a daft amount of money on a guitar you just bought brand new for 500 quid. But it does happen. You've seen some of my previous videos on frets on new guitars. So what I'm going to do is, just going to pull these strings out of the way. Remove the truss rod cover. I'm going to do it all on camera. I'm just going to move the camera in a second, just so you can see every single thing I'm doing. And we're going to scoot across with a fret rocker. So all being well, if I've done my job right, these should all give us enough. Should have enough slack here. Just get these strings completely out of the way. I think we have. Yes, that's fantastic. Let me move the camera down onto the guitar itself. How's that for you guys? It's pretty good there, yeah? We're going to get a not straight edge on there. Not straight edge, if you've never seen one before, I try never to lift tools over a guitar, so we're going to go round the back. So not straight edge, 24 3/4 inch that side for a Gibson or Epiphone, 25.5 for a Fender or Squire. So 24.5 side, not straight edge. It's a straight edge with notches. The notches go over the frets, and it enables us to see how straight the neck is or isn't. So let's have a quick look. Oh, good news is, my friends, is with the strings loosened, that neck is dead straight. So because the neck is dead straight, we can now check the frets. Again, as if I'm talking to a novice. I'm going to grab another tool, and this is called a fret rocker. I'll explain why in a minute. It's a precision piece of metal with 4 different lengths. This is one of the high-tech super level ones, level to within 0.001 of an inch over a metre or something similar to that. Very, very level indeed. 4 different lengths, the reason being we need to measure 3 frets at a time. And if we get a rock, we know about frets high. Listen. So we've got a high fret there, fret 4, and we're going to do this. And as we go further up the neck, there's another one, fret 6. As we go further up the neck, we turn it over to a short side, always measuring 3 frets. So I've got 2, 3, 4, got 4 high frets along the whole length of the neck. The good thing about that is if we're under 5, it's included in an extensive setup. So for 80 quid this is going to be. Got 4 frets to level, which I'm going to level. Just happens that all new guitars, we never have perfectly level frets. So what we're going to do is we're going to check. This is only a quick check for now. I'll do a precision check a little bit later on when I've got the camera set up on this bench. But I'm just going to check these. Tiny rock on that edge, that's fine. So we're looking at 4 frets at that end, they're fantastic. Nice and level. One there, fret 15. Fret 13, that's 2. fret 10, that's 3, fret 9, that's 4, fret 6, that's 5, fret 4, that's 6. I'm still going to include it in a intensive setup. So I've got 6 high frets. That one's 7. Oh yeah, that one there, really high on that. So I've still got 7 high frets. So by rights, I should be doing a complete fret level. I'm not going to do a complete fret level. I'm going to spot level all of them. I'm going to keep it down, keep the price right down. I'm going to do it as an intensive setup. So 7, the reason I don't like doing more than 5, if I alter this one, say this one's high. Let's go with fret 4, which we know is high. Fret 4 is high, yeah? You can hear that. Fret 4 is high. Now if I remove material from that one, it's going to alter the relationship between these two and these two. Because if I remove material from that, chances are these are going to appear to be a little bit higher. So once I get over 5, I prefer to do the whole lot. Now because this is a brand new guitar, and it's a lot of faff leveling a lot and a lot more expensive, I'm going to spot level and I'm going to take my time and spot level them. It's more work for me, but it's less of a charge for the client. Also what I can do is, because some of these frets are quite high as well, I'm going to tap them all in with the hammer, so I might only end up doing 4 or 5 anyway, but it certainly is going to need an intensive setup, so that's what I'm going to recommend to the owner. The way these guitars are made lately, we just press the frets in, we don't level them like they ought to, we just press them in and that's it. It's just a sad state of affairs nowadays. Don't get me wrong, it's still a really great guitar, and it will play pretty okay, but you will be getting fret buzz if you've got high frets, so we are going to sort that out. I'm going to let the owner know I'm going to give him an intensive setup. By rights I should be doing a complete fret level. If he says no, go for a complete fret level, and that is exactly what we'll do, but I will get back to you and let you know what the owner has decided. Welcome back guys, we are bright and early on this Monday morning. I believe we are Monday the 18th of October, year of our Lord 2021. I've been in touch with the owner of this lovely Epiphone Les Paul Standard, and he said, oh no, let's not compromise, let's not just do a spot level, let's just level the lot, get it done. He wants it done right from the off. So brand new guitar, we're going to give it a fret level. I do believe that I said there were 7 frets with high spots in the last part of the video. I'm not quite sure, I think it does kind of ring a bell in there. So he said no, let's not compromise, let's just do it properly. So it's going to have a complete fret level, complete setup and a new set of strings. So yeah, fantastic. I will not be doing it today. I've got a refret to finish off. I will likely have this on the bench. I'll definitely have it on the bench sometime this week. So should be a pretty straightforward one, nice and easy. Wonderful guitar, but we might as well get it right from the off. Good morning fret friends. Just before I nip off to my job at Royal Mail, I've been up, it's 7:15 now, I've been up 2.5 hours. I've already cut a bone up this morning, and I've not been able to work on this because I need to hammer these frets in, the high ones, and I can't be hammering at a stupid early time in the morning. But anyway, we're going to go across with a fret rocker. I assure you that the neck is dead straight. And we're just going to check the frets that are high. I've marked all the high spots in marker pen. And listen. Really high there. Whole fret is high. So far it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We do have 9 high frets. And there you go. So 2 spots there, 1 spot 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 there, 2 spots there, whole fret, 2 spots there. So 9 frets. I do believe we have 13 high spots. And what we're going to do is we're just going to follow under the neck holder there, and we're just going to tap these frets in using a nylon side of a fretting hammer. Just lightly. just to basically reseat. That's as far as I can go up with the hammer, with the support. There you go. So some of them may be slightly unseated. I still expect them to be high in those more or less the same areas, but probably not as high as they were. That one's okay now. That one's still very high. And that has levelled in some spots. Let's again just go on this area. That's levelled out. That's still high. We're not hammering them in just to get them all levelling, and we are going to try and do that. That's levelled out a little bit. That's levelled out. Still high. Like I say, it's not going to level them all out, but it can make them sit a little bit better. Still high there. That's okay that side. That's not so bad that side. So we have levelled a couple out. We're still not seated perfectly, but it means we've got to remove less material now. It's a brand new guitar. I'm not going to remove the nut on this. Now people have queried this method I use. I build a ramp. I have a ramp built up of copper tape, and it's a cheese wedge. If I can show you the thickness there. And I'm going to build a ramp up right up to the edge of the nut. And I understand what people are saying. They're saying when you get to this one, when the levelling beam hits there, it's going to rise up and it's going to dig into these ones at the back. Well, I'm not coming across this fret because this fret's level and fine anyway. I'm only really coming up to this fret, so I'm going to stop short of getting to the end. Trust me, this works, and it works really well. So I'm going to be levelling all of the frets. I'm going to drop the pickups, I'm going to do it right now, into the guitar body. I'll cover these with tape in a moment. So we don't get any filings or sandpaper in there or anything. And what we always need to do is we need to make sure that my levelling beam is not going to hit the pickups anywhere. Nice and level that one, nice and level that. I'm going to remove the bridge. I'm going to remove the stop tail piece. Screw everything down. All setup's going to be done again. Screw everything in, make sure it's right. We're going to take and make sure we are clear of everything. We are well clear of everything there. Going to grab some Scotch 3M tape. I've been using this for years on recommendation from Nigel Roberts, ex-owner of Leicestershire Luthiers.co.uk, now owned and run by Danny and Natalie Lint. Danny was Nigel's apprentice. Great guitar guy and one of my best friends. Dan's wife, like my wife, is Canadian. So we're both guitar techs. We both have a Canadian wife, so we have a lot in common. We're good friends. We get together now and again. We socialise together, and yeah. So this tape was recommended to me by Nigel Roberts a few years ago. I use it all the time. So there you go, with the neck dead straight, with everything covered that we need to have covered. I will be dropping this into the body, taping over that. I'm not doing it all now, I'm just showing you where I'm going with it. I'm going to level these frets. I'm going to come back and show you that a little bit later when I get back from work this afternoon. So be here for that. Hey guys, we are just about ready to start levelling these frets. I've masked off all the areas that need to be masked off. I've dropped the three-way selector inside the guitar body. I've made sure again that the neck is dead straight, which I've just done off camera. I've put my little nut protector there. And what we're going to do is first, we're not going to go with a levelling beam. What we're going to do is we're going to hit the high spots with a levelling file. Now this is precision made. It's a precision ground flat piece of steel made by Chris Allsop. Got this on eBay. It is a diamond file, lovely and smooth, but it will really remove material. It also has a gradient coming up here and here. It's a fantastic piece of kit, and this being a diamond file will remove a lot of material in a short space of time. Now we are going to hit the tops of all the frets, because I'm going to hit all the black marks where we have high frets, just to remove the main material. Once I start scratching the ones next to it, I know I've removed enough material. You'll know when you've removed enough material, because the file will be smoother and easier. You'll get less friction. So concentrating on these frets at this end. And this is protecting the knot area. I'm only coming to here, but I'm still removing material from these frets. And I can see where I've removed material from this fret all the way across, because the whole of this fret was high. And once I stop getting resistance, I know the frets beneath the file are level. Now you're probably going to be thinking, how do you know which frets to file and where the material needs removing? This is how I know. I mark every fret, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 11, 13, 15, 21. I mark the areas on the fret which is high. So 1 denotes this side, 2 denotes centre, 3 denotes closest to me. And X means all 3 areas. So I've got a key or a map showing me which fret had a high spot. And what we're going to do is, once I start getting resistance, I'm just about there now actually. I know that the frets are more or less spot on. And what we're going to do is we're going to clean the area and we're going to check the frets again with the fret rocker. Now I can see the tops of the frets where material has been removed. So I know more or less how close we are, but what we're going to do is we get the fret rocker and we're going to check the frets again, and I'm also going to look at my key because I know which frets are high and where I need to be checking. So fret 2 were areas 1 and 3, so we're going to check those areas. It seems like we're level there. Fret 3 was fine, fret 4 was all areas. Now level. Fret 5 was fine, which it still is. Fret 6 was areas 1, the outside, and fret 3, the inside there. So far so good. Fret 7 was okay. Fret 8 was area 3, which is closest to me. It's now level. Fret 9 was area 1, that's closest or furthest away from me, so that's this area. Fret 10 was okay. Fret 11 was area 3, which again closest to me. It's now level. Fret 12 was fine. Fret 13 was area 2, which is just the centre. Now level. Fret 14 was fine. Fret 15 was area 2, again the centre. Now fine. 16 was good, still is. 17 was good, still is. 18 was good, still is. 19 was good, still is. 20 was good, still is. And 21 was area 3, closest to me, now good. And area 1, furthest away from me. Still high on that corner, but that's it, the rest of them are fine. Always remove the main material with this file because it's really quick. It does, however, scratch the frets a lot, scratches this way. So we're going to have to polish more to get rid of those, get them out. Again, this is still a little bit high on this edge. Concentrating just on this far side. Now level. Just check one back. So these frets should be level along the whole length of the neck. Now you might be thinking, yeah, but you might have removed more material from that end than that end, and that may be true. This is why we've not finished leveling yet. We are going to do the whole level next with a leveling beam, and we're going to level all of the frets. And how we know that they're all level is what we're going to do is we're going to mark the top of all of the frets along the whole length. And if we remove the pen in just a few strokes and there's no pen left on any of the frets, it means we've got them level. The more experience you get at this job, the easier it becomes. You still have to, I mean, it can be quite painstaking, you still have to take your time and do it right. We don't want to remove too much material. It is common to remove more material from this end than this end, because even though you may be giving more of a sweep with the file, this end, when you get here, you're removing, there's a lot more frets at this end because they're concentrated closer together and there's less here. So it's much easier to remove material from this end quickly, and it takes a little bit longer this end. So we need to make sure we concentrate a bit more weight on this end, less weight on that end when you're using a leveling beam. So that is telling me that the frets are level with each other. It doesn't mean they're all level along the whole length. We're going to find that out shortly. So as we are live, I'm going to keep the video running. I'm sure my wife's about to burst through the back door in a minute. She's gone shopping, and as much as she tries to remember I may be videoing, she doesn't always remember that I'm videoing, so she does burst in. I pre-apologise for that. But anyway, we'll mark these frets up. Now I will be levelling with 2 different grits of sandpaper on the levelling beam. I'll explain how the levelling beam works in a minute when I get it out. But I'll be going across with 240 grit. That will lessen the depth and the abruptness of the scratches in these frets. And then I'll finish with 400 grit, which again will remove more of the scratches. But to remove the scratches properly, we need to polish these frets up. And that's where that's more painstaking. It takes a long time. It's a lot of work. It's my least favourite job, but I do enjoy it. But it is long-winded and does take time, and it can be quite boring because I'm using 7 grits of sandpaper over 22 frets. That's 184 polishers, and I've got 22 polishers again with steel wool. So that's 206 polishers, 206 frets to polish in effect, and it takes a long time. And it can be quite boring, so it's always good to have something on that you enjoy listening to. Right, okay, my levelling beam. Great piece of kit from Crimson Guitars in England. Precision straight edge. And I have 2 grits of sandpaper on there. Now this sandpaper comes on a roll. It's not sticky backed, but I do sticky back. I use double-sided sellotape. Double-sided tape, and I also use masking tape first, which makes it easy to peel off, then double-sided tape, then I stick the sandpaper on there. Now again, 400 grit on the top, which is smoother, 240 grit on the bottom. And the 240 grit is basically to remove the main material. Now I've got to be careful here because I don't want to be scooting up over the nut, because then I'm going to lift this side and it's going to start digging down into these frets. So all we're going to do is I'm just going to stop short. I'm going to stop basically just over there, and all we're doing is, if I remove all of this pen pretty quickly, we know that the frets are level. Now I always need to make sure that everything, the pickups and everything, is beneath this file, which I've already checked, and they are. I cannot hit anything that doesn't need to be hit. So that's great. So I can just concentrate on leveling, or just making sure that everything's level. Gentle pressure, not pressing down hard, just gentle. And I still have some pen in this area, so we've got a high fret either side of this one here. So I'm going to take my time. We're just going to bring them all consistently level. Now, also following the radius, we don't follow the contour of the neck, we follow the widest fret, and we keep this at a 90-degree angle from the fret. So we're going to overlap this side, that keeps and maintains the proper radius. Let the file do the work, or let the sanding block do the work, or the beam, sorry. Still got a little bit of pen on this one. So we're going to concentrate our efforts just on that side. If you set your neck straight, don't worry about taking too much material off. You're not going to remove too much material. When I first started doing this, I used to be scared I was removing too much gear. Right now, we have got all the pen, tiny little bit left there. So just concentrate in this area again. And now we're looking pretty good. Certainly I've removed material from all of the frets. Just going to close this door in case my wife does come in the back door. So nice and quiet here. We can take fret rocker again. I'm going to check all of the frets, and I'm going to really take my time, so I'm going to really feel for any height discrepancies anywhere. I can see how flat the frets now are and how much material has been removed. You can't see it from where you are. Take my word for it. These frets are level. And like I say, it's a brand new guitar, but the owner of the guitar wanted this right. I wanted it doing it right from the off. He says, you're not going to change the pickups or the electrics or anything. He wants it stock, but he wants it setting up properly. So that's what we're doing. And he can take it away and he can learn his craft and learn to play a few songs here and there. And take his time and enjoy the guitar for what it is. Too many people buy one of these guitars and want to upgrade them straight away. Play the guitar, learn the guitar, play it on its merits. It's a nice guitar. There you go, those frets are level. So again, I'm going to pen the frets. We're going to go with the 400 grit side now, which is smoother, which will remove even more of the scratches. Still a lot of work to be done on these frets. Because we've levelled them, where the fret had a lovely crown going this way, like a sideways C shape or D shape on its side, we're now flat on the top. We need to rebuild that. That's recrowning. So we'll be recrowning them later because we need a small contact point between the top of the fret and bottom of the string, else they'll buzz. With flat tops, they will buzz all over. So we need to recrown them. Now again, that is a job in itself. I'll show more of that a little bit more in depth a little bit later. But let's get these all penned up again. The reason for taping all this side of the body was what will become apparent later, because I'll be working these frets, I'll be filing over the frets, and I don't want to be digging a file into the body. So that's just added protection. Yeah, tried and tested methods. You can learn to do all this yourself. I did. I learned from books on YouTube. Dan Irwine books are priceless. Another one, it's from Stumac. Well, it's Stumac now. Fantastic guitar tech. I don't think I think he's a Luthier, so I think he's built guitars. So there you go. We have penned the tops of the frets again. Permanent marker. We're now going to go with the 400 grit side. And again, this will smooth the frets out and it will remove more of the scratches. Again, not going over this edge. We're going to let that vibe there just stop us. And that is all of the pyramid, little tiny bit there. Let's just concentrate a little bit on this side. Sometimes it's just because you've not got your file or your sanding beam at the right angle. So what I'm doing now is I'm looking at seeing how much material I remove on that side and that side. And if I've got a little bit more one side, I'll come over to the other. We're looking pretty even there on both sides. So all I'm doing now is smoothing off, making sure all the pen is removed, which it is, by the way. Most frets are level along the whole length of the neck. We can now remove this gubbins because we're not going to need it anymore, that bridge. And again, the tops of all the frets are now silver. So one more time, we're going to check the frets for level. The good thing about using that file is, using that, I forgot where I was going with that, I've just read a message. Where was it going? Oh, the good thing about using that 400 grit is it reduces the depth of the scratches again and how bad the scratches are. So these are almost smooth now, so it'll be a lot easier. That's why I use two different grits of paper. 240 for removing the main material, 400 for smoothing off. That paper will last ages. I've probably done 3 or 4 fret levels of this. I'll probably get another 5, 6, 7 back paper as well. It's really good to use paper that's already been used. So again, taking fret rocker when I find it. There you go, right here. And that is beautiful. I know these are good because they just feel great. So with a straight neck, we've now completely levelled the frets. Now some of them have more material removed than others because some had high spots. There are no high spots anywhere now, I guarantee it. Beautiful. So these frets are now ready for recrowning. As you can see, this is a big job. It takes time, and you can see why guitar companies don't do it. We just press the frets in. They're more or less level enough. In my estimation, if they're not level along the whole length, if they're not precision level, then they aren't level enough. But that's me. That is the way. That is my standard. My standard is slightly different from a factory that just wants some more money, I suppose. But there you go, the frets are now level. So what I need to do now is I need to tape up the fingerboard, leaving just the frets exposed, and we can get on to where they're now flat. We're going to recrown the frets. We're going to do all of them. They all need doing anyway. The one thing I just do need to do before I move on that is check the radius. The radius of the frets matches the radius of the fingerboard. Now I would imagine this is a 14-inch radius or a 12. I should have checked that before, not that it matters. Looks to be a 12. Let's check with a 14. There's not much difference between a 12 and a 14. Yeah, they're a 12. 12-inch radius. What I'm going to do is just check the first and last frets. Just check that they match the radius as well. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. And this one, straight across the top of the fret. I was a little bit flatter at this end, but that's okay. Especially that last one. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's really good. Yeah, we're good there. So that's fine. So these are going to play superb. So So I'll move on to the next thing, recrown. I'm going to get the fingerboard taped up. I will come back, I'll bring the camera in closer and I'll show you how we recrown these frets. So with the frets level and the fingerboard all taped up, take a marker pen and we're going to draw or mark over the tops of the frets. And I don't know what you can see from where the camera's placed, but the tops of the frets are flat and we're going to recrown them. Because they're now like that, we're going to rebuild that crown going in this direction. And in the old days we'd have used a 3-cornered file and we'd have rolled over and filed and kept rolling and we'd rebuild that crown either side, but we don't have to do that nowadays. We've got a Z file from StewMac, great piece of kit. It's a diamond file, it has 2 cutting edges, 2 different cuts. You've got a shallow, deep, well, you've got a deep one there but sharp, and you've got a shallower or a lesser gradient but a long cut on there. Turn it 180 degrees, you've got the exact opposite. The great thing about this is it being a diamond file, it will cut a lot of material, but it will not hit the top of the fret, so we won't remove any height. And I'll show you how it works. We're doing 2 cuts. A shallow cut on one side and a sharp cut, well, yeah, shallow on one and a sharp on the other. And it's just a matter of going across, flipping 180 degrees. And like I said, because it won't touch the top of the fret, we're not removing any height. Now on the centre of that fret we have a black line about 0.3 to 5 millimetres, about 0.4 millimetres wide. So that has rebuilt that crown. And then we're going to take a regular crowning file and we're just going to, over the edges, just remove any burrs or inconsistencies, because that doesn't cut a perfect round, it cuts flat and flat again. And over the edges, and that really is it, and that's one done. Always clean the file, onto the next one. This is so much easier than using a 3-cornered file. Brilliant piece of kit, this StewMac Z file, one of my favourite files. Clean up, ready for the next one. And that's it, 2 done, that quick. Really is that simple, not difficult at all. Just do one more on camera. Again, just give you a close up of the file. Closest to you, a wide cut and a sharp cut there. Flip it over, the opposite, sharp cut there and a wider one there. Great, great piece of kit. If you do fretwork and you don't have one of these files, you're really missing out. You need to go and buy one. My first one cost me £125 with import duty and everything. I bought it from Medinta in Spain. Now I just go and get them from StewMac direct. And it's worth its weight. Like I say, it cost me £125. I've had it, I don't know how long I've had it, nearly going on for 2 years. I must have done 80 jobs with that and it's still sharp. Brilliant piece of kit. So that's it. The rest of them I'm going to do off camera, taking more care when I'm working over the body. It's why I've taped up the body of the guitar. You can't see it from where you are. I will zoom out and explain what I mean. But yeah, when it comes to doing these, I'll be working over the body, so it's why I've taped everything up so I don't scratch the body. I'm going to pen all the frets. This is going to take me a while, so I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to do it off camera. Don't think for 1 second I work in silence. I don't work in silence at all. I will have some music on or some audio on while I'm working. It's only while the camera's on I don't have anything playing in the background. And that's because on YouTube I've been done for copyright just for even playing worship music, church music. You can't play that, blah 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 blah. I thought you're joking. But you know, that's the way it is. So I don't play anything while I'm filming. But there you go, they're all marked up. I'm going to get all these recrowned. Once they're recrowned, we're going to move on to polishing. I will come back and show you how we polish the frets once the crowning's done. Polishing the frets. I have 6 different grits of sandpaper. 600, 800, 1000, 1200, 1500, 2000. So a finer grit each time. But before I do that, I'm going to go with some 400 grit, which is a lot thicker, this paper. And this is just to remove those scratches in the pen. The pen's that way, the scratches are that way. And this is fabulous, just for removing the deeper scratches. Basically, once you remove the pen, you remove the deeper scratches going that way. We only ever polish this way. And this is the quickest part of polishing, because what I'm doing is removing the pen from the top. Once the pen's removed, and the scratches under the pen are removed, and we can set to the polishing. So I don't really polish with 400. Now I got a text the other day, or an email, or a message on YouTube, someone saying when he polishes his frets, he finds that his frets are not level afterwards. And I says, well, he's probably using too coarse grits of paper, or he's rubbing too hard. You should not be losing height of your frets just by removing the pen and polishing. You don't need to push down like an idiot when you're polishing. What you want to be doing is you don't be removing material, you just want to be polishing the scratches out. And it does happen, it can happen on occasion. You get a very, very slight discrepancy on fret height, but I found that if you do it properly and take your time, you don't lose any height off the frets. What's the point of leveling them more if you're going to remove more when polishing? So when polishing, you're not meant to be removing any material from the frets itself. Polishing is just about removing the scratches and then bringing them up to a nice shine. Which is what I'm starting off here. So 400 grit is not really what I call a polishing, part of the polishing process, even though it kind of is. You're just removing that pen, and if the pen's gone, those deeper scratches are gone. Now this takes a long time. I mean, this part's quite easy. I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I've done 10 already. But this is just removing the pen, it's not polishing as such. When it comes to polishing, I'll be taking a lot more time on each fret, and I've been working differently. In fact, I can show you a couple right now. I know where I am with that bit. Always wear an adapted glove. Just cut the ends of these fingers and that thumb, because I'm only using these 2 fingers for polishing. What I like to do is, once I've done one run, I'm going to remove all of the dust or whatever. So polishing, I'll explain polishing while I'm doing this. I've got enough here to do 24 frets, 8 at the top, 8 at the bottom, 8 in the middle. And I normally start at that end and I start on this side of the paper. And as I come across, by the time I get to the 8th and 9th fret, I'm at the end of the paper. But just for argument's sake, I'm just going to start here today. And this is how I polish. I go straight over the top. And I'm just using one small piece of the paper, like so. And then I'll move to the next one and do exactly the same, using a different piece of the paper, move across ever so slightly. So I'll easily get 8 frets done with one piece of paper. So I'm going to start from this end when I do that. So that's how I polish, and I'll do that with 6 more grits. And each time we're removing more of the scratches, and we're polishing up a little more because we're going with a finer grit of paper. Really, more or less self-explanatory. It's not rocket science, is it? So with this, removing the pen and the deep scratches. Takes a while this, because I've got 8 different grits of paper to go with. Then I've got to finish off with the finest grade or superfine steel wool. So it's 8 polishers times 22. That's 176 polishers, I believe. So in effect, I'm polishing 176 frets altogether. Takes a while. This is not really polishing, like I say. This is just removing that pen. So I'm going to crack on, get this done. It's going to take me a while, but once this is all done, I'll come back when we get to the thingy stage, the wire wool stage. We'll finish off with steel wool. Then we can look at getting all this tape removed, getting the strings back on, getting the nut cut, and getting this guitar set up. I'm going to do something I don't normally do. I'm actually going to work without speaking and just show you how I'm polishing frets. I've got up to here with the first bit, or 600 grit. I've gone over 400 to remove the pen, as explained earlier. I'm now on a 600 grit, and I'm up to about here. And I'm just going to work, because this is how I do work. I normally have some music on or some audio on while I'm working, but just for you guys, I'm going to work in silence. I'm just going to crack on. And you see I'm moving across the paper, getting right to the corner of this paper now. I'll get one more fret out of this. And once that's done, you see I've used the top third of the paper, so now I'm going to get to using the middle of the paper. Now what I'm going to do is turn it over and go this way and work the way towards this edge of the paper. So this is my method for polishing. I easily get 24 frets out of one piece of paper. Then it's just about going over the top. The sides are already polished. We've not removed anything from the sides. We're going to remove material from the top. The top probably quarter of a fret, but not even that, top eighth. Moving on to the next one, you can feel I can feel how much grit is on the paper, the bit of paper I'm using. I'm very, very slightly moving across the paper as well every time I go to another fret. Imagine this without audio or without some music on. It is quite tedious and quite boring. It doesn't make my arms ache anymore like it used to, because I do this job a lot. And my muscle group that is being used while polishing is used to this tedious work. Once I get to 8 to 9 frets left, I know it's time to turn the paper and use the last third of the paper. And I've already done those two, so I've got 2, 3, 4, 5. I do have exactly 8 left, but I've already done them 2, so only 6. So the great thing about that is I've done more with this paper than I normally would do. But you may be able to see these are coming up to a nice shine. This is only the first grit of paper. I've got 5 more grits to go. And there you go, I've used 2/3 of the paper. This is Ross the dog, if you can see him down here. My American Bulldog Cross Pooch. He's come down to tell me it's time for his dinner. It's not time for his dinner, it's 4 o'clock. He has his dinner at 5 o'clock. It used to be 6 o'clock. But with the clocks going wherever we went last week, back last week, his body clock's messed up. And he's saying, time for dinner, Dad. It's not time for dinner, Ross. We need to realign your body clock. Because you had your dinner at your breakfast earlier this morning. He's not bothered, look, he's just laying at my feet there, being Ross. So yeah, 176 of these in all to do. So imagine how tedious this can get. This is only the first proper grit of polishing paper, 6 grits. 600 through 2000, so you got 600, 800, 1000, 1200, 1500, 2000. Now you see why I have these 2 fingertips covered and just cut these, just so my hands can breathe and they don't sweat inside these gloves, because these are powderless gloves, my preferred gloves, latex free powderless gloves. Like I said, I already polished these too, because I polished these just to show you guys earlier, so they don't need as much work. There you go, that's the first run of the first piece of paper done with. And all we're going to do is brush away over the detritus here. Now you see why I cover the body, protect it, because I'm brushing. I've already filed over there. And that's the first run. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more grits to go. It's going to take me a while. I'm going to crack on I'll maybe get these polished, just these 5 bits of paper, and I'll probably leave this, put this on the back burner till tomorrow morning, because we are getting toward me wanting to finish today. It's 3:46 in the PM, so it's only 3:45, but my wife's on her way back from work. She's a teacher. I need to get some dishes washed, and my wife will come back and cook dinner, and I think we're going to go out for we're going to take the dog for a good walk and go to a local country pub for a couple of pints later. So praise the Lord for that. Fantastic. I'm really pleased I've had this week off from Raw Mail, and even though I'm injured, I've still been able to get in the workshop and do some work. So praise the Lord. Hallelujah. Okay, fret friends, we are getting there. I've just finished polishing the frets, and they look astoundingly good. I've also oiled the fingerboard. Polishing the frets, I've gone with 7 different grits of sandpaper, and some finish off with steel wool. So there's 6 of your grits. I've explained all about the grits before. That's all ready for the bin. I've just put the 3-way switch back in position. I didn't realise these pickups still had their plastic covers on there, so I've just peeled those off. Well, want to be peeled off when I remove the tape, so I didn't really have a lot of choice. But once they're off, you don't put them back on. So that's it now. We don't have a protective cover on the pickups anymore. That's not a problem. You don't want them on there. But yeah, beautiful guitar. So we're not too far from being done. All I need to do now is we're going to get some. I'm going to let this fingerboard dry. It's just about. I've left that oil on there just about enough anyway, that lemon oil, so I'm just going to wipe that off now. I'm going to stick some strings on, some Diodario 1046s. We're going to cut the nut, and we're going to finish off the setup. So I'll explain a bit about the setup. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put strings on. I'm going to set the neck with the amount of relief I like. I like about 1/4 millimetre relief under the 6th fret. Relief is the curve in the neck in a smiley shape. That's back bow, like a rainbow. Smiley shape's relief. And I like an action of, the action is the height of the gap between the string and the top of the 12th fret. So 12th fret bass side, 1.75mm. On the treble side, 1.5mm. The radius will be matched on the bridge, which should be 12-inch radius. Once that's all done, I've set my height here. I'll go a slightly bit higher. I'll probably go 2mm, 1.75mm, just so I can come down and cut the nut slots, because I'll be cutting the nut slots down so the strings are nice and low above that 1st fret. Again, I do have measurements for them. I like to go round about 0.3mm on the bass side, 0.2mm on the treble side. You can go lower, but we don't need a super pro, super low setup. You could go down to 0.2 to about 0.15 there, which is, if you want a really low action, you could do that. We'll go for a standard action anyway. No need to go too low, because if we go too low, we're going to cause fret buzz everywhere, and we're going to end up having to pour a new nut on it, and that's a lot of work, and it's time consuming and expensive to do. So I like to go with my safe but nice measurements. Some luthiers, guitar techs say you shouldn't have measurements, you should do it by eye, this, that and the other. Shut up. So I've got to say to people like that, I know what I'm doing. I've been doing this for years and I don't have any complaints. You can do it by measurement, or you can do it by eye, whatever works for you. I'm not saying there's a right way and a wrong way. It's just the way I do it. I do things by eye, but I do like to take measurements as well. There we go. So that's it. So everything is ready for the bridge going back on, and the tailpiece. Again, sprung tailpiece, great idea, because it's sprung. Once you pop it in, it's not going to fall off. And the bridge itself, Epiphone stamped on there. You will find that you've got thicker grooves on one side and thinner on the other, so this one happens to go in this way. It's not a lockable bridge, but it does go in there pretty tight, so I'm wondering. There you go. Oh, that is really tight. Let's have a look, see where we are with this. See if something not right about that. Are these lockable? No, but it's very tight in there. Don't get it. I can actually bring these up a little. I need a better screwdriver, or a bigger screwdriver. I'm going to bring these up a bit. Should probably fit better. Again. It doesn't seem to want to fit properly, that. I don't get that at all. not right there. Something not right there at all. Ah, it's alright, we're in now. That's good. Need to use the right screwdriver. So yeah, very, very tight fit. But anyway, we'll crack on. I'm going to put some strings on, come back, and we'll have a look at getting the setup done and getting these string slots cut. Okay guys, moving on. All I've really got to do now is cut the nut slots. I've not done the setup as such yet. I don't really need to. As long as I eyeball it and it's pretty close to where I need it to be, which it is, I'm quite safe to cut the nut slots. And the reason I'm cutting the nut slots right now without messing about is I'm losing the light. And this is the thing with, I do have a night light on my other bench, but it is really difficult to film over there. And the film quality is not quite as good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my 1046 set of files out. 10, 13, 17, well it's not 17, 16, but it's close enough. 28 for a 26, 36, 46. It's a set of Hosco files. Nut slotting files, great piece of kit this. I think about 125 quid. Steel files are really, really good. And they all measure the width of the string you're cutting for. So, just a quick explanation. We need to get these as close to the first fret as possible without buzzing. And if I measure these right now, they will be, let's have a look, top of a fret to the bottom of a string. It's about 0.7 millimeters. That's far too high. It means you're pressing almost a millimeter down to bar an F or an F sharp or a G chord, and that's going to send everything out of whack. It is not going to be in tune. We need to get those right down, so I'm going to be looking at, let's just have a quick measure. I think it's about 0.7 the looks of it. So that's too big. We're going to drop that down to about 0.3. And on the far side, I'm going to drop down to about 0.2. So we're going to carve each of the nut slots. So I'm just going to get myself a little measure. I'll leave out the 0.3. I was leaving out 0.25. I was going to go a bit lower. I'm not going to go lower. I'm going to go with what I said. So 0.3. I'm going to take the 46 file. 0.046 of an inch. That is the corresponding size to the corresponding string thickness. Great thing about these files is they do cut the perfect U shape. So the string sits in there nice and snug. But it still will move freely. So I'm going to check the height again, see how much I need to remove. This being a composite nut, it is not bone. So I'm going to carve in horizontal with the neck. Do not want to cut into the frets, I won't do. Oh, this is a composite nut, it's a man-made bone derivative. It's something like a Graphtec type thing. And what I'll do is once I've cut across, I'll aim down toward the tuner. Not going to go mental, not going to remove too much gear. And I just need to keep measuring. We're getting there. Don't go gung-ho, just a few cuts. Don't get too heavy-handed. Right, that looks about right. Should go a little bit more, but only a little. Always wipe the file. Still go a little more. So like I say, take your time, don't go gung-ho. Go too deep, you'll be replacing the nut that are bind to get out, and you've got to cut a new one from a blank. And it takes time to replace it, and it's going to cost you money as well. Just about buzzing. I could go just a tiny bit lower. that is the first one done. Go next one, the A string, 0.36. Exactly the same procedure. You don't need to remove as much material on that one. Do it and measure it again. I want to go about 0.275 with this one. So again, get the right file. 0.036. I already know I don't need to go too deep with this one. Down towards the tuner, or machine head, whatever you want to call it. And you see how it goes. These are probably tighter than we need to be, these strings. I've not tuned it in or anything. That's 0.3, so let's try 0.25. If it's just buzzing on a 0.25, close enough. The next one I want to be 0.25, 0.23, 0.22, 0.2-ish, or thereabouts. Just give it one more swipe with the file. That's that one done. Next one, the 26. The closest file I've got is a 28, that's fine. Just need to remove a very small amount from this one, so you see how it works. So I'm going to crack on, get this all done off camera. We'll not be carving the top of it, not to shape it again or anything. So I'm going to crack on, like I say, get this done. And once it's done, I can get the strings to pitch. I'll set the action and what have you. I'll come back and explain what I've done, and this guitar will be ready to go. With the nut done, what I normally do is set the strings, set the guitar to tune, and alter the string heights at the 12th fret, which I'm going to do right now. String action gauge here. I have not got it to tune yet, but what I've done is I've cut the nut slots. I'm going to brush all that away in a minute. I'm just going to check the action at the 12th fret on each side. We are far too low on the bass side, far too low on the treble side. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a screwdriver and we're going to bring the bridge up to where it needs to be. And normally I go a little bit higher than I need to go, and I can drop it back in. So let's have a look and see where we are there. Still too low on the bass side. Still too low. Oh, we're just about right on the treble side. I'm going to come up a little turn on the treble side. A turn and a half, or a good full turn on the bass side. See where we are. And we're looking good there. 1.75 and 1.5. Well, 1.8 on the bass side, which is great, and 1.5 on the treble side. So that's where I want to be. Pickup heights, I've got to bring the pickups up yet. That's the last thing I'm going to do. We're nice and low above the first fret now, so we've got that right. The action in the neck I have set at 1/4 millimeter at the 7th fret. Doing a feeler gauge there, just check that again. That feels pretty good to me. And we're just going to check the tuning. Not done the intonation or anything yet, not worried about that. We just need to get the strings to tension, not over tight or not too loose. Then we'll check the action at the 12th fret again, and we'll check the release again. And once we're where I want to be, and everything's set to where I like it, then we can stretch the strings in, and what have you. And also set the intonation. the standard tuning. I still need to stretch the strings in as well. But with the guitar tuned to pitch, let me check these measurements again. So we are 1.75 exactly on the bass side, just slightly under 1.5 on the treble side. I'm going to bring that up just a little bit again. That's beautiful, and that's beautiful. So that's exactly where I want it to be. It's not staying in tune because I've not stretched the strings in yet, but I've got everything I want at the moment. I've got the 1.75, 1.5 mil there. We're nice and low above the first fret. I've got the bridge set, not done the intonation yet, not stretched the strings in yet. Just going to check again the amount of relief at the 7th fret. That's perfect. So that's exactly where I want it to be. So all I need to do now is set the intonation and stretch the strings in and tune it up. A quick look at the intonation. I might have done this with the old strings on, I normally do. When you put new strings on, it's going to be pretty much bang on. And I'll do all the final setting up and everything with the guitar in the playing position. Not laying on the bench horizontal. A little bit sharp on the G, it means we need to move the saddle. We need to lengthen the saddle ever so slightly, so we're going to move it away from the neck. If the note's sharp, you move the saddle to the right as you look at it this way. If the note's flat, you move it to the left. Flat and left are 4 letters, sharp and right are 5 letters, so you always know which way. If it's flat, move it left. If it's sharp, move it right. And there you go, that's that one done. Bit sharp on the B. E's fine. So again with the B, just move the saddle to the right or away from the neck. So I look at it, I'm moving it to the right. So that's it, that's the intonation set, so everything is set. The only thing we're going to do now is stretch the strings in. I'm going to do that off camera, just a matter of stretching there, and stretching every hecking way. We'll get as much of the stretch out without snapping them as we can. The thicker strings need a little bit more work than the thinner strings or the unwound strings. So give them a good few goes. So I'm going to do this all off camera. Once it's all done, I'll have the guitar in the playing position, I'll check the intonation again, and I'll check the tuning again. Once it's in the playing position and the tune is right, we have the guitar finished. And there we are guys, we are all done. Epiphone Les Paul Standard, made in China, came in stock. He didn't want any mods, he just wanted the frets sorting out and a proper setup. We've given him a complete fret level and a proper setup, cut the nut slots, what have you, set the intonation, set the relief, set the pickup height and everything. The frets are now spot on, level, recrowned and polished, and it's a beautiful looking guitar, so it's all ready to go. One thing left to do before I go, and that is to remind you of my website. It's facebook.com/ng17, that's facebook.com/ngoneseven. There's also fretfriend.co.uk, which is mainly a placeholder, but that is it until the next one. So as always, I'm Victor, I'm your fret friend, and until the next time, God bless you, be good to each other. I'll see you in the next one.